by boat from, we landed in Halifax, but where did we leave from? From a German port? Okay. The boat ride was, well, it didn't bother me too much. There were a lot of people who were really sick. Grandma sure wasn't feeling too well. I used to give her oranges. Yeah, they were given to me, and I went and gave them to you. They helped you feel better. And when we came, I remember meeting the family in Montreal from Halifax. How did we get to Montreal from Halifax? By train? Yeah, I don't remember that. But I remember meeting Auntie Rose came to meet us. Auntie Rose came to meet us. Yeah, and Uncle Chaim from Philadelphia. And we met Faye and Mike, and Auntie Jenny, and Uncle Izzy, and Francis, and Lionel. Lionel came with Mike. Yes, the brothers came. Yes.
Well, and they took a room, I don't know, it was 2 rooms or 1 room. Don't forget that it's about how many years? Since 48. But it's over 40 years. Almost 50 years. Well, I didn't hear you. Yes. And so we were there. The next 2 days, and 3 days later, I went to look for a job. Because in the meantime, I don't remember if I told you, all I did while we were in Austria, I really cut quite a lot on our food. The food at that time, as a displaced persons, we were getting it from the UNRWA. UNRWA, United Nations, pardon me? Relief Association or something. And I was really cutting from it. Sherma was getting also, he was working, but that time with Wiesenthal for the recuperation of Jewish goods. This is, so all the equipment I brought some equipment, and then I decided to go to look for work. And I went to one of the biggest beauty salons from Montreal, the very most elegant, the most. And I told them what I'm doing. They said they don't know anything about it. They could give me a room. I should bring them equipment and to start to do. And they put a big picture of mine in the window, like to get to them first. It was a big waiting room, very salon, very elegant, with 2 black cats sitting on a couch there. I was very impressed by the appearance coming from Europe that was so devastated. And was on the first floor. And naturally, I started right away. They announced their clientele. Among their clientele were a lot of people from the radio, from the television. And naturally, they were all started to be after me for interviews. And then I was in an interview on the radio. And naturally, the interviewer, it was one of the best. She was an interviewer, she was a writer, Judy Jasmin, very well-known name. And so she told me what she'll ask me, so more or less I knew. My French was what can I tell you? My French was, I went to a private school, it was French and German. And when the teachers, I make a parenthesis. Do you say in English parenthesis? During the classes, they were in Romanian. But in the recess, we were obliged to speak French or German. We had ladies that came from Germany that didn't know one word of Romanian or French, and vice versa. The French didn't know also one word of Romanian, so we were forced to speak one of those two languages. Naturally, we spoke among us when we were a small group speaking. We spoke Romanian. As soon as one came in, getting close to us, we started to speak the opposite language. So she saw us speak. We are speaking a foreign language, so she left. And this is how it was. So this way, I learned French, but not that much to be on the radio. Anyhow, to come back to the radio, she started to put me questions, and naturally I was very tense and I answered and all the questions. And when I finished, a man, I forgot his name, started to make with big marks, big gestures with his hands and talking about Jello, how good is Jello. And when he finished, I asked my Judy Jasmin, say, why didn't you tell me that I can use my hands? It would be so much easier for me to talk on the radio if I could use my hands. Anyhow, I got quite a lot of press coverage because they were very anxious to find out what I'm doing, and it was something new. It was electrotherapy. Even a lot of those machines, they didn't know them in Canada. And let's say for hair removing, they used electrolysis, which was a method that was kind of a less good method than the shortwave. And I brought the shortwave machine. And I enjoyed very much my work. And it was my first job was when I started. I brought my equipment there, as I told you, and I started. People started, of course, there. The salon having a very big name. They offered to everyone, to their clients, especially the ones that were more important. They offered to see me. And, well, just for the face treatments, facials, which they were very, very impressed because, let's say, for the muscles, the exercise of the facial muscles. Actually, my work was only the face and the neck. Nothing for the hair, nothing for the rest of the body. So when I gave them a facial, that consisted on a face cleansing. And by then I had already my cleansing cream. For me, that made quite an impression. And then massage, which was, yes, massage I used an indirect high frequency, which was like I put an electrode under their bag, and the electrode was connected with high frequency, and the current went from their face into my fingers. And with my hand, I was massaging, which impressed them very much. They never had those type of treatments. Or for the muscles, the same exercise, the same current, I mean a different one called the Faradic, which was exercising their facial muscles, just like with the same thing was given for the body to exercise body muscles that needed recuperation or something. And or even another current called galvanic, which if you put, let's say, placenta extract on one side of the face, and because placenta was positive, and on the other side you put another part of the face, you put the current which was negative. So it was going from the positive, from the negative, and you apply the placenta negative, and because the current positive, the placenta was going to the positive, and this is how it gets into the skin, into the face. And all those treatments were very successful. And a lot of clients saw really results. Or let's say after my skin peeling.
Okay, let me think that. When did you first start making cream?
I started first in Austria, when I still were in displaced person camp. When I started, I don't know if I told you, but in Austria I had a school of aesthetics, very short one, a few months only, 5-6 months I think. And there, by the way, now my students are all over the world. We all went to different parts of the world. And then I started to make the creams, because you see, as a pharmacist, and I was reading enormously. I got a book that was really, you couldn't find it very easily, but that time, Lexicon der Kosmetische Praxis, the lexicon of the cosmetic practice, where they spoke about cosmetics and aesthetics, but with the purpose of healing, like in the creams, where what was in the creams was not just perfume and Vaseline or sold in a beautiful jar, but it was really substances introduced that could help the skin.
Who wrote that?
Pardon me?
Who wrote that book?
Who wrote that book?
Rovesti?
No, not Rovesti. No, Rovesti was. I have it. Oh yes, I've been part of that book. It's in Toronto. I don't want to right now I cannot think of it.
Which were your first creams?
Oh, this I don't remember. I know that I did cream. First of all, I got right away in touch with Vienna, where it was one of the best laboratories for products like placenta, like epidermine, like all kinds of substances that could help the skin to regenerate better. So I got in touch with them. They were sending me the raw material. I formulated them. And also I had already my skin peeling formulated from when I was in Austria.
How did you, what led you to decide to make a skin peeling?
Oh, the needs of the skin. And the knowledge that the regeneration of the skin could help its appearance.
Was there a client that you had, or a couple clients that you
No. I saw, and if I saw, let's say, somebody young came to me with an acne, and I saw that with the skin peeling I could help, I spoke about the skin peeling, and they took it, and they saw results. I'll never forget my first letter of the class, because I said, you know what, write me what you think about it, but with your hand on the Bible, the truth and only the truth. Don't worry. If you have to tell me something which you didn't like it, please say it. I want to know only the truth. So one client wrote me, thank you, Mrs. Chiro, for the skin peeling. Now I can look in the eyes of my husband and smile to my children. It impressed me very, very much, because before, like the same woman before, she was always self-conscious, and she felt that she cannot look in the eyes of her husband, and now all of a sudden she felt the results of the skin peeling. Then I really had wonderful results, and people appreciated them.
Who did you test your peeling on?
Oh, wonderful. And myself. I'll never forget when I did the peeling, and then the first peeling, when I began, it was 7 days. And then slowly, with the time studying and so on, I reduced it to 5 days. But so in order to reduce, I did once a peeling on myself, and I took it off before 7 days. And my skin was, because then I realized I had to introduce some other substances, and my skin was very red. And my daughter, Alina, said, Mommy, don't worry. You'll go to have a plastic surgery. You'll go to a plastic surgery. She was 8 years old or 9 years old, so she decided she had a plastic surgery. And by the way, that professor from Vienna was going to the United States, was invited to the United States to do plastic surgery in the United States, because it's just the plastic, it was right after the war. Naturally, the plastic surgery was playing a big role that time, because there were so many people that needed it. Professor Reitner was his name. And so this is what it was with my work in Montreal.
How did you know, what led you to explore sulfur as a main property?
Sulfur as a main, because by studying and reading, and also, why? You know that your grandfather, we had a pharmacy. It's like in the olden day in a small town, the pharmacy was the first room, like from the street, where people were coming up. There were a few steps. They came to the pharmacy, and right connected to the pharmacy was our living room or dining room. It was the dining room, and the rest of the quarters. So, of course, I knew what Papa was saying. I heard. I mean, it was very, very close. And I knew that he used a lot of sulfur always. Pardon me?
What for?
For the skin, for the face, for the skin. I don't know for what else he used it. I wasn't. But besides, by reading Lexicon der Kosmetische Praxis, I found out that each cell, because they were talking about anatomy as well, that each cell of our body contains sulfur. So by giving to the body, knowing that Papa was helping so much with the sulfur, like his preparations, I started to explore this possibility, and I got to it. Naturally, I wouldn't make the first time if the formula was changed, I wouldn't make it on a client. I did it on myself. So, and now, after 50 years, you won't find the damage that on my skin, the damage that the peeling did. There is no damage there after so much trying. So I am satisfied. And, well, where do I go further?
Well, in Montreal, how many creams did you make? You said your cleansing cream was one of the first creams that you
Well,
yourself.
because first you had to clean the face in order to get to the skin, and this was very important.
Tell me how you started creating other creams.
Well, I started creating other creams. First of all, I knew about this laboratories. I knew the name, what they were doing, and I wrote to those laboratories which they had substances or raw materials in which no, Henkel wasn't one of them. Chemisches Laboratorium, Dr. Karl Richter. Dr. Richter was, and I knew their raw materials, so I asked information, and this is how they gave me all the information about their raw materials, how they were obtaining them, how they were, the results, and so on. All the literature, all this. And then I decided I'll incorporate them. And then after that I also found, let's say, collagen or elastin was also made by them. I think by them. And some other companies used it as well. I wasn't the only one to use them. But the thing is that other because these raw materials were very expensive, they used the very small quantities. Let's say collagen, they used about 5%. And I was using 10%. You see, so I didn't try to save anything, and I didn't try to make, my aim wasn't the money. Besides also, I didn't agree with other companies the base on which they were giving it, because one of the cheapest base, one of the common bases creams were made was Vaseline, or called petrolatum. I was against it, because petrolatum was a substance obtained from petroleum. And I want substances obtained from natural, let's say the wax. To give you an example, I use beeswax. You know, all those things that having a very honest and very, in a second, let me find. My aim was really to do something for the skin, to do a lot, as much as could be done. It wasn't to sell that beautiful jar. And in fact, my jars were once your grandfather, my husband, told me, it's a shame, the jars which you have, they are not cosmetic jars. I said, I don't want to sell jars. I'm not a sales leader of jars. I want to put in them, and I want people not to look for the jar. Because in general, you see cosmetics by that time, even now maybe there are, I think, a little less. They were competing for the beauty of a jar, the jar appearance. And I didn't have this. Nobody seeing at my jar, they wouldn't even touch the cream, who didn't know me or my aims. Okay? So
how many years were you with that guy, Mr. Bernard?
from the hairdresser?
Rented space there?
Well, I tell you what happened, as I remember. Don't forget the 50 years. He took the place there. And then when he took the place, and those people were leaving, I moved out. So I found another place not far on Mountain Street. And it was funny because that place, the Palmer Beauty Salon, it was the name of the beauty salon, Palmer, they said, don't worry, Mrs. Chiro. You go where you move, where you want to move, and all the clients will send you there. So it was not far, so they kept on sending me the clients there.
And this is a space that you rented on your own?
Oh yes, by that time there I rented the place. It was a house. I mean, but the house it said like in the front, I don't remember what it was. I remember it was a photograph in front, and I was in the back. It was a big corridor, and in the back it was an apartment which I rented, and I had the clinic. How did I call it? Protesians Clinic d'Esthétique. That's what was the name.
On Mountain Street?
On Mountain Street.
And who was working with you?
By the time, nobody. Just me. And I also was living there. Like one room was the clinic, and the rest of the house, it was my quarters. And Alina. And even more. Don't forget that we arrived to Canada without 1 cent. Any we didn't have any money. We just arrived. Because it wasn't something abnormal. We got used to know that we go from one place to other, just like beggars, but we were not beggars. And so then we also where I was renting, we were renting an apartment. It was 2 rooms, I think, or a room, I don't remember. For us, we moved to Mountain Street from there. So I had my clinic there, and I had my apartment there, and this is how I started on Mountain Street. And what else was there? Yes, my work. to tell you. I told you that how we were tied and money. Who knew about what is tied, what is not tied? We just from today till tomorrow how we could manage. And then when we moved to mountains after a while, to come in, it was a small hall, which I made a waiting room. Like I didn't have too many people, so for 2 people it was enough to wait there. And I had a desk, something there in the front. Anyhow, it looked like a tiny waiting room. Quite a few doctors today have waiting room like this. And then my clientele got bigger, and I had a living room attached to this waiting room. And I decided that I could offer people the living room as a waiting room. But the living room was parquet, and I didn't have a carpet. So one day I told Shoma, I said, I didn't even tell him. I went, and I found the name of the store after 50 years. I still remember he played. I found the second hand, very nice Persian rock carpet. And I said, this would be good for me. I think it was about $150, which was a lot of money then, but the carpet would be original, would be worth very, very much. So when he came home from work, it was on a Friday, I said, I saw a carpet, second hand, with $150. Oh, he said, we cannot afford it. With me, he said, no was no, because I never put importance on material things. I didn't think I liked very. It should be aesthetic, it should be nice, but not, my aim wasn't no price, I should have it. So he said no, and generally I didn't know too much about money all my life. So he said no, probably no, so I agreed. And then I was busy with doing things in the house and preparing and anyhow household, because the Saturday and Sunday was my household day, and he was sitting and reading the paper, and I felt that he was very tense, but I didn't have really to worry about anything. Why is he tense? I didn't went through my mind. So the Monday morning, usually he used to get up 6 in the morning. Though he had his doctorate in law, he was working, when we arrived, he was working as in a factory, as a foreman something in the factory of ladies. It was, by the time, it was one of the biggest shorts and slacks factory. I forgot the name, but it was one of the.
How did you get the job?
Well, by some in the family knew the boss, and he got, in fact, Francis's brother-in-law or something like that. So, and he didn't, usually he used to go, he was a shipper. And because he couldn't start low there, because the language was French, though he spoke French, but it was not a French to use as a profession. So Monday morning, he didn't go to work. And I said, what? He usually used to go early. I said, aren't you going? No, he said, I want to go to see the carpet. I said, okay, I went with him. Actually, he bought it. And he said, I don't know. It's funny. He said, I was always thinking that I'm the boss in the house. And when I think well, I see that I'm doing everything only what you want. that the man is the neck,
The man is the head.
the man is the head, and the woman is the neck, and the neck fills the head where it wants. So he said, and I am doing everything only what you want. Because I never insisted, I was never, he said, no, it's okay with me. Anyhow, that's my family story.
Well, there's another thing he said that in Russia they greet you by, how they greet you? By a certain thing and they say goodbye or something else. How you look or something in Russia, they greet you by what you look like, by your coattails, they say goodbye by your coattails.
Oh, what I told you, many years ago, they greet you, they say, by your appearance. And they say goodbye by your personality, by your character, by your... Like first they open hands for what they see. But then you remain what could be left for a long time of you. Like, I don't know if I expressed myself well in English, but this is what they said.
What are some of your other favorite Russian expressions?
I don't know, I don't remember, but I tell you, I was, David, one of the things that played a big role in my life, an important role, was the knowledge of languages. You get right away, people open their arms when you speak, especially when they see you try to speak their language. You make an effort. There are no borders, or how would you say, borders, or, okay, any language I speak, even now, if I learn English, speaking here English, I try to ask people, and you have the experience with me, is it correct? Is it correct? I try to speak a correct any language. All right, Russian and Romanian are my mother languages, so naturally I speak them well, but German and French, and now English, and also Jewish. In the time of the war, being with Polish Jews, I learned also Jewish language. So, I don't know why. If I would be young, I would do anything, like go into any kind of organized time to impress people, the young people, how important it is to learn a foreign language. Because if people would learn more, would speak more languages, it will be less animosity between them. You can be only, okay, you could be to speak a language and say go to hell, this language. But it's very, very important. So, of course, the English is a language that everybody learns it, and they speak, so an English-speaking person doesn't have the need to learn another foreign language. But it's very good when you can accommodate somebody in his language. Okay, what? Go ahead. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. How did you start to build a clientele in Montreal?
Well, I told you, I didn't do any effort. It was that beauty salon who had all the clientele, that had all the names press coverage, did a lot. And then there was a moment when a paper or two, I don't remember, came asking me to write them articles, to give them, to open a rubric. A rubric, is it in English? A column. For beauty, for questions. So I got all kinds of questions, and it was very interesting to answer them. In this way I formed some people, let's say, I was a big adversary, that's correct, for women smoking. And how bad it is for the skin. And I was not advertising, I was promoting against damaging your skin with the cigarettes. Even it was today that a woman came once and she wanted very badly my skin peeling. And I felt when I was talking to her and she was lying down, I was examining her, and I felt the cigar smoke. I say, okay, I'll give you the peeling only if you'll stop smoking. After a long while, my clinic, by the time I had Marielle working with me, they called me, here is a lady who is claiming that you promised to give her a peeling when she'll stop smoking, and she stopped smoking. So I said, okay, go ahead. Or I was very much against people, also by the time it was very much in style to take the sun. And I used to say, don't take the sun, let the sun take you. What it means is you could walk on the sun, but not like people used to lie down with reflectors for keeping them close to the face to get the sunburn, which damages again very much the skin. And now today you read, you see, and my sunscreen was, I think, long ago born.
How did you develop your sunscreen?
Well, again, I with my connection with the chemical companies, which I tried to find out something, an ingredient that when the sun rays, when you put that cream, that ingredient incorporated in the cream, with the sun hits it, it doesn't penetrate, it is reflected by the skin, with the cream actually. So it means that it didn't damage to this extent. And so on and so on. But I worked very hard on the reading, and I had to educate first of all myself. You see, I didn't have anybody to teach me. I had to do my own research and my own critique and improvement, or to say it's not good. And my client tells you they felt that I'm sincere. And a lot of times I say, look, you have this cream, but if it's not good, please bring it back. Because I wanted, you see, I did research in the meantime. So actually, the client helped me. You see, it was a give and take and take work.
What drove you to discover, to create more and more cream?
What drove me? The need of the skin. What drove people from eating only bread and I don't know what they to get to bread and butter, to get to bread, you know.
And do you remember the first time another esthetician asked you if she could sell your product? How did that happen? Or did you send out?
No, I didn't send. I don't remember. Don't forget that in all those years, it was aesthetics developed. Like when it was under aesthetics. I was the only one with this name. Then it came quite a few that opened salons, and they come to me, and a lot of times I try to explain them what I'm doing, and you see it. So.
Yeah, but who did you approach them, or did they approach you? How did that happen?
This I don't remember. Could be that sometimes I could approach somebody or somebody approached me. If I felt that she's a serious esthetician, honest, very serious, I trusted her. Like, let's say, till today, my peeling is not on the market. It's only in the hands of Alina, whom I give, to make the peeling. Why? The reason is very simple. Because the peeling can do so much and so much. There's a lot of good. But it could do, you see, a lot of estheticians, a lot of doctors are selling peelings, and some estheticians for a very high price, and saying, oh, look at your skin, you'll get 20 years younger, which I would never accept somebody to tell about my peeling. I say, what I'm doing is a process, and it's you that are building a new skin, not me. I'm just doing a process which I assure you that, in fact, if it's 50 years, I never had a mishap. Never. I dared to present it in convention. I dared to start 4 peelings and giving a press conference. The press should witness when I started. And then the 5th day, the 4th day, they were flown to London. We went to London, where it's an international convention. I removed the skin. And I wasn't afraid that somebody, because whatever would happen, it would be natural, and I would tell them about it. You see, so it's if you want thing, if you want after 50 years I can say the truth, I never tried to do something because I could have the benefit of money. Never. But today I realize that the satisfaction I got, no money could be able to pay it, like to valorify today.
And what was Papa Summer's job? How did he help you with your peeling? Or with your whole business? What was his responsibility?
Well, he helped me in the sense that, like, he knew he was, like, with the payments that came in so much money in the clinic, let's say, it was cashed in, this and the bills had to be paid and all this. I never had anything to do with this. You know, besides, after a while, my clinic became very big, and I had, in the meantime, the 2 aunts of you, the 2 sisters of Papa Shoma, came to Canada from Romania.
What year did they come to Canada?
I cannot remember. Probably in 75 or something like this. In Sicily.
They were in Europe?
They were in Europe. Malvina was a doctor, surgeon. Her husband was the chief of the hospital. Chisinau, Bessarabia.
They were there till 1975?
No, I don't know. They were there earlier. They left earlier. I think they went to Israel. And then they came to us.
Sonia?
Sonia came with her husband much earlier, I think. And Cecile was a lawyer. And then she went to Montreal to a cosmetic school to learn aesthetics. So both of them were working in the clinic. And so because the clinic got really big, I had other estheticians. And so it grew. It was, you see, Alina came in here, and I can say in front of my children that I never did anything in my profession to have the benefit of money. Never, never, never. Only the benefit of the results. That's what gave me like money cannot buy.
Think that led to your success?
That's for sure. Listen, the clients felt. They felt that they can trust me. They felt that. So this, and besides, I enjoy doing it. The biggest payment was my satisfaction for good results.
My mother enjoyed doing it also.
I hope so. You see, when you do something, you work with people, and people are satisfied. It is your benefit in the word of, in the real sense of the word. Bene, if you bene, it means good. Good.